football is a game of fine margins, I think, at this top level. When you're in a spell like this, the tough one, do you ever ruminate over kind of moments in games that might have changed the course of the season? I think like Jeff had one cleared off the line against Sunderland. Mitchell hits a perfect volley on his wrong foot. If those things don't happen, those small things, the narrative might be different. Do you ever allow yourself to think about those moments?
Not really. I think you have to accept, as you said, at the highest level, that the margins are small, and you can't sort of wait for those to come round for you, and turn your way. You have to keep working. You have to accept the reality of the situation, and then you have to keep moving forward and try to change it. So that's the job. That's life. We're looking forward to changing that dynamic.
You took a while to sort of pick the right job for you after leaving Chelsea. You've described this job in recent weeks as a hard job. Has it been harder than you thought it was going to be?
Well, I think every Premier League job is a hard job. That's stating the facts. It's normal, because it's the highest. If you think about how many coaches there are in the world, and if you find yourself one of the 20 coaches in the Premier League, by definition, it's hard. Every team's good. Every coach is good. There is resources everywhere. So every job is hard. In terms of this job, I mean, I think whether it's any hard, you don't know how things are before you go in, and then you have to look, and then you have to once you're in, then you make your assessment. But from the outside, I thought this was going to be a challenge, and that's why I took the job. It's an incredible challenge. It's an exciting challenge. Just when you use words like hard or challenge, automatically people think that's negative. It's not. I think if you want to do something important and special, you have to accept that there are moments where it's really difficult. Otherwise, what's the point? Anything that's worth having or doing in life, you have to accept that there's going to be struggle, and you have to be ready to deal with that.
Did you foresee that struggle, I guess, as well?
Yeah, of course. I've been coaching for 15 years, 20 years. Every single job. Football is tough because the margins are small. The nature of the game is so challenging. The best team sometimes doesn't win. It can be unfair, all that stuff. So my experience in coaching football, and also always you have to assess at every point along the way. Okay, where's the club at? Where are we at? Now, if your assessment is everything's great, culture's great, environment's great, the team has had lots of investment, it's all positive, it's got a young, dynamic group of players with hunger, then okay, that's one start point. If the start point is slightly different, then clearly the challenge is different. There's always a way.
This week there's been, again, quite a lot of noise around the club. A lot of reports that the club are looking at other managers potentially. Is it hard for you to kind of do the day-to-day when those stories, those reports are happening?
That doesn't affect me. I don't listen to that. It's your job and other people's job to create speculation. It's part of the noise of the Premier League. It's part of what you sign up for. So if results aren't good, which they haven't been, and no one's shying away from that, the results aren't what we want, then there's always speculation, there's always noise, there's always negativity, and there's nothing to complain about from my perspective.
In terms of that, have you spoken to the higher ups here about kind of where the team is this week? The results, like you said recently, haven't been good enough. You understand the environment, you understand the noise. Have you spoken, have you had conversations around where the team's at the moment?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, as we do every week.
Positive talks, or
yeah, positive talks. But we all understand as well where we're at, and we all want to improve. It's, as I said before, no one's happy with where we're at. At the same time, you have to look at the context and the situation, and you have to not get caught up in the noise.
How quickly do you feel you need to kind of get results and turn things around here? For Everton, for example, the next game, is that for you just a game you cannot lose, or a game you really have to perform well in? Do you have a kind of a time frame when things needs to change?
Well, sounds obvious. I'd like it to change now, tomorrow, the next game. Of course, we all want that. But we play sport. It's football in the highest league, so nothing's straightforward. We just focus on what we can control and not worry about too much about time frames and things like that I can't do anything about.
Sam, PLP.
Graham, good to see you. Can I start with team news, please? How's the squad looking ahead of Monday?
Good. It'll still be Aaron missing. Still struggling with this stomach problem, but apart from that, everybody's available.
I know you described it before as an incredible and exciting challenge, the job of the West Ham United head coach role. For you, during times like these, what sort of experience do you draw upon? Because you're obviously a very experienced manager. What do you look back on and think, okay, that's something that I'll use to help me get through maybe this period?
Well, 50 years of life, 20 years of doing the job. In summary, that all those things that happen, that you again, you have to understand, we're an emotional world. People want things quick, and I completely understand that. And when results aren't going well, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of pain, people are hurting, and often they want somebody to blame. It's not easy to analyse why results at a football club aren't what you want. It's not easy to make that assessment, and so therefore, like I said, it's clear, especially if you think that the results should be better, then the natural conclusion is the coach is the problem. And if that's the case, I've always said that if that's the case, then everybody knows the consequences of that. If you look at it slightly differently, and if you make a different assessment of the situation, then you can come to a different conclusion. But again, that's not for me to tell anybody how to think. That's up to them.
Is that blame part of the territory, part of being a Premier League manager?
Of course. Yep. We're all the same. If you don't win enough, then you're under pressure, you're under scrutiny, you're all that sort of stuff. And as I said, if the problem is the head coach, then, and that's the narrative, or that's the thinking, that's a conclusion, and if results aren't good enough, because as I said, they haven't been, then yeah, the consequences are the consequences. But again, there's always there's another way to look at it. Whether we do in this world is another thing.
As for Everton, 10th in the Premier League table, 7 points from 5. What have you made of them so far?
They've been good, as you expect from a David Moyes team. Very well organised. They've made some good additions in the summer, and yeah, they've got the new stadium, which has obviously given everybody a lift. Looking forward to going and playing there. But they'll be strong. It'll be a tough game.
When you're away from home, do you look at the Nottingham Forest result and the Nottingham Forest performance as inspiration, as the example to replicate? Is that the game that you look back on and think, right, if we can do that again, it'll go exactly how I want it to?
Well, yeah, but no games are the same. Obviously, if you said to me we could keep a clean sheet and score 3 goals, I'll take that now, obviously. But yeah, we did a lot well. I think against Sunderland, ironically, we did a lot well up until we conceded the goal, and then we didn't do so well. So there's always bits in games that you can take, but obviously, from our perspective, we need to be good. We need to be better than we were in the first half against Crystal Palace in terms of our balance between defence and attack. I thought we got that wrong, so that's something we need to improve.
There's plenty of individual battles that you can always pick out ahead of an upcoming game. I'll mention Jack Grealish, who seems to have really found his form this season. Is that one of the key battles, him versus, in this case, Kyle Walker-Peters, that's one to keep an eye out on?
Well, I think in most Premier League games, in every Premier League game actually, there's more than one. We're aware of Jack's quality, of course, but I think they've done well. Beto's a threat for them up front, and Dye coming off the side with O'Brien pushing on is a threat for them. Dewsbury Hall finds good spaces, so they've got lots of options in the attack, and as I said, it'll be a tough game.
Just finally from me, Malik Diouf has more assists than any other fullback across Europe's top 5 leagues. How vital a player has he become for you?
Yeah, we're really happy with him. I mean, he's a player that we identified early. Unfortunately, we could sign him early, so we worked with him, and he's got a great enthusiasm. I thought the club and the supporters would appreciate him because of how he plays the game. But yeah, he's really effective in those situations. Hi.
The Everton game will be the first Monday game you'll have to play in a while. Do you like having that extra time of letting the weekend pass and watching the other results go first?
I don't mind, to be honest. I've been doing this long enough that any day's fine for me. If we win it, it's nice whenever we play.
Do you feel sometimes that with the current club situation that he perhaps sometimes falls unfairly on the manager when it comes to sort of poorer results?
No, it's, as I said, it's something we all sign up for. We understand if results aren't good and you're not winning enough, then you have to face that, and you have to own up to that, and you have to take that responsibility. As I said, there's also part of the job that you have to look at context. You have to look at where the club was, where the club has been, where the club's at, and realistically what is needed to improve. We live in a world where we want things instantly, but whenever you do something meaningful and important, sometimes it takes some time. But at the same time, in the world we are, if short-term results aren't good enough, you understand what happens. But that's nothing I can control.
And not just as a manager as well, but perhaps as a human being, how do you deal with kind of the situation that the club is in now, and perhaps the pressure that may come with it?
But I think it's part of the job. It's something that you sign up for. And at some level, you've got to be grateful for it, because it allows you to grow. It takes you to the brink. It takes you to the edge of your capability, and that makes you a better person. Yeah, football's easy when you're winning every week. It's great coming to these things and talking to press and when you're winning all the time, but the reality of it is it doesn't always happen like that, and then you have to deal with it. And I think the responsibility of the head coach of a club like West Ham is you deal with it as well as you can in your own way, with integrity, with respect, and go forward and try and help the team improve.
And just to end my questions on a lighter note, a slightly ridiculous one, so I'm sorry in advance, there is a certain recent trend you may be aware of, the Graham Potter face swap trend, which is basically superimposing your face onto any person or celebrity. Are you aware of this?
Yes, I am.
How do you feel about being a trend?
Yeah, well, it made my 15-year-old son laugh a lot. So, as I said, you have to accept what comes with it, which is part of criticism. It's at times ridicule, but that's just the environment we're in, and it is what it is.
It has been used by other football clubs.
Sorry?
It has been used by other football clubs posting their players with your face on. Have you got a picture that perhaps is your favourite out of all of these?
No, not really. I haven't given it too much thought. You can imagine I've got a few more important things to think about than that. But as I said, it is what it is. You have to deal with those things.
It's the end of my stupid questions.
No problem.